Oh, well, I am here, and you are here, and we are here, and we are all together. Welcome to another episode of the Hill Times Sports. Whatever the heck stream this is, we got a lot of NFL news coming out from yesterday and the day before. Let's start off with the obvious thing. Mike Tomlin has stepped down after 19 seasons with the Pittsburgh Steelers. How does everybody feel about it? Well, I feel indifferent. It's been many years since Mike Tomlin has won a playoff game, and sometimes it's just better to move on, especially if you're Tomlin. You need to go to a situation where it's like, well, I could take a year off and I can make a splash somewhere else. I think like coaches get stale in one place after a while. Either that or, you know, they just lose their mojo, the game passes them by. I think the problem with Tomlin is that, he's been running the same scheme for his whole tenure with the Steelers, and eventually, that scheme just stops working, and you have to move on and either evolve or step down. And I think the same thing could go for Sean Payton, in my opinion. Sean Payton's a very good coach, but I think the game has passed him by a little bit as well. In other news, we have coaching. John Harbaugh is interviewed with the Giants, supposedly. Adam Thielen has retired after 13 seasons with the Minnesota Vikings, the Carolina Panthers, back to the Minnesota Vikings, then to the Pittsburgh Steelers for a few games, and had a big catch in the AFC wildcard game against the Texans, and that was about it. So, good luck on retirement, and hope you guys have fun. As for John Harbaugh, I think Harbaugh needs to revamp what he does. He has a tendency to blow leads late in the game. He might be able to change the culture for the New York Giants. The Giants do need a culture shifter. They had bad coaches, your Joe Judges, your Brian Dabolls, and things like that. So, it's kind of good to get Harbaugh in a situation where he can lead a bunch of guys. I don't know how long he'll stay there, but it might be good for him to be there. As for other coaching stuff going on, I'm sure Mike McDaniel is now having wants a few interviews with people. Ravens complete head coach interview with Chargers defensive coordinator. Who's the defensive coordinator? They have interviewed 10 coaches, supposedly, from what I'm seeing in this headline. They have recently... Hold on. Who's they? Jesse Minter. Jesse Minter has been quietly very good, with this Chargers team. I know the Chargers don't have a lot of fandom and things like that, but it is what it is. I think that anyone in the Ravens territory, regardless of scheme, is going to do well. Not regardless of scheme. We'll get to Kevin Patullo a little bit later, but regardless of like offense, defensive coach, I really think they'll have a good time. And I think they should go the defensive route, because if you're going the defensive route, you could just bring in someone to do the whole Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. You have a lot of good players, a lot of good pieces. So you need a guy who could get that defense into shape and not blow leads. As for Kevin Patullo, he's been fired by Nick Sirianni. And I know a lot of people are happy about that. I am never happy. I know a lot of people are happy to not have him around as the offensive coordinator. Hold on. Not have him as the defensive coordinator. Nick Sirianni in a statement says, "I have decided to make a change at offensive coordinator. I met with Kevin today to discuss the difficult decision, as he is a great coach who has my utmost respect." So he was hired in 2021 to be the passing game coordinator. Promoted him to associate head coach in 2023, and then promoted him to offensive coordinator in 2025 after Kellen Moore left to become head coach of the Saints. He was up and down all season. There was times where they looked really good and times that they just were lost and didn't know where they were going, which way the end zone was. Oop, don't want that. But supposedly he wasn't even totally fired. There's something going on. Here we go. No, that's not it. The Eagles. What Kevin Patullo wasn't totally fired. Let's see what this has to say. The Eagles. Come on. I don't care. Please. Let's turn down the sound. The Philadelphia Eagles took a step back on offense this season, and offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo is the main culprit for some people. That led head coach Nick Sirianni to remove Patullo from the position as they look to fill the role over the offseason. Notice how Sirianni and Eagles didn't outright fire Patullo, because there seems to be still be some interest on keeping him on the team in some capacity. The head coach and front office would like Kevin Patullo to stay in Philadelphia because he's an integral part of the success of that the team has been under Sirianni. So Mike Garofalo is actually saying that they want him around. They just don't want him as an offensive coordinator. And I'm fine with that. You know, I think he's a great offensive pass play game guy. I just don't think that he is going to be an offensive coordinator. Maybe not at the moment, maybe not ever. This leads on to another problem with the Eagles. A lot of people are saying that AJ Brown is going to be traded this offseason. I highly doubt that. If they trade him, I think it's a bonehead move. He's still one of the best receivers in the league, and just because he had a few missed passes and got into a spat with Nick Sirianni on the sideline, let me tell you about competition. Me and my brother, we freaking fight all the time when we're playing Call of Duty or playing a game together. You know, we're always arguing, but it doesn't mean that we don't love each other. And I think the same thing goes with AJ Brown, who had over 1,000 yards and multiple touchdowns. Even though, you know, we didn't win as many games as we wanted. The Eagles didn't win the Super Bowl this year, and it's very hard for teams to win the Super Bowl. As, you know, only 8 teams have done it back to back. So it is what it is. I think Brown stays on the team. I would like for him to stay on the team. He's my favorite Eagles player. A lot of people are wanting him to go, which is stupid. Other Eagles news: Blankenship, Dean, Goddard, a few other, Jalen Phillips are all going to be free agents this year. And where does that leave the Eagles' free agency? I hope that the Eagles keep Goddard, and I hope they keep Blankenship. They've been with the team for a long, long time. They've been productive. I would like to keep Jalen Phillips, but I know that's really hard. Nakobe Dean, of course, I'd like to keep him, but he's earned himself a spot to go somewhere else. And maybe the injury does play in the part and keep bringing him back. He missed like half the season or part of the season this year. We still have Jihad Campbell. We have Jeremiah Trotter Jr. I think those guys will develop into really good players. Just takes a little bit of time. So Blankenship, I don't know where you would go to replace him. I think he's a leader on the team. And plus, he makes up one half of the exciting whites, which is pretty cool. Jalen Phillips is another player. Had pressures, didn't really get sacks, but the pressure rate went up for everyone. Jalen Hunt is another player. I hope that they sign him to a long-term extension. I think Jordan Davis is another player that earned himself an is back to dressing like Belichick. Yes, I am back to dressing like Bill Belichick. Maybe I need to cut off the sleeves a little bit. What's up, Sam Boyle? Hope you're doing. Just talking some Eagles news. I think that Jalen Phillips is going to go somewhere else. I don't think the Eagles sign him. Jalen Hunt looks to be the next man up for that team. As for the game that I'm going to do next week, or this week for the divisional round, because of my schedule, I have chosen the San Francisco 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks playoff game to cover this weekend. So that's going to be a lot of fun to do. That game is a rubber match, I think. Or did Seattle win both games? I don't know. But yeah, they've had a long history of a rivalry going back to like when they moved back to the NFC, when the Seahawks moved to the NFC West, and then you had your NFC Championship game with the 49ers and Seahawks where Sherman's called Michael Crabtree trash and other things. So I'm excited. That's been like a game, like those games, the 49ers and the Seahawks have been games that have really done well for my channel. So that's going to be good. I'm probably going to do that one. Other than that, I don't really have a lot because the Eagles are out of the playoffs. I have some off-season stuff that's going to be going on, but let's look up some of these games that are going to go on this weekend. We got the Buffalo Bills and Denver Broncos. I'm going for Buffalo, of course, just because I'm a Josh Allen fan because he's from Fireball and I'm from the area. I really don't know who's going to win that game. According to my expertise, you're having people over for the Niners-Hawks game? Nice. Hey, don't even trip about like coming and hanging out with me. I'm just doing it because it's the best for my schedule. It's a Saturday evening. I have class to teach on Saturday morning. Broncos Bills is out of the question. So, and then Sunday I always have work. So that's going to be just the way the cookie crumbles. Next week will be Sunday. I don't know which game I'm going to be able to do, unfortunately, because we have a 12 p.m. game and a 3:30 p.m. game. I'll be at work for most of that. Damn. It's going to be hard to do any game for that unless I leave early. The Super Bowl, I'm definitely doing. I'll probably leave early the conference championship game, the NFL conference championship, and then the Super Bowl, I'll leave early from work. My house is a kids-free zone. Nice. My house is not a non-kids-free zone. We have kids running around everywhere. They're not mine, but, it's just when you live in a small house and your room is a 10 by 6 room, you just got to make do. But what are you looking forward to for the game this Saturday if you're listening? I think that I'm looking forward to seeing a repeat match. I want to see Darnold go off in this game because Darnold hasn't looked great the last couple games. I would like to see him step up. 49ers look real better than the Eagles, of course, but everybody looked better than the Eagles. So, that's as for the Texans and Patriots, that one's a wash too. The Texans have a really good defense. Their offense is putrid. The Patriots, Very good defense last week, not a very good offense between the Chargers and the Patriots, except for that one Hunter Henry touchdown. So that one could be anything. The Rams and Bears is another game I wish I could do. I'm really looking forward to this Rams and Bears game because the Rams have a high-powered offense. Their secondary is a little weak, but the Bears are the cardiac Bears. They give you a heart attack every week. They're very like play bad for 3 quarters, and then all of a sudden they want to play well. So that's what I'm excited about. I'm excited about this slate of games. It's probably been one of my favorite playoffs other than last year because, when your team wins the Super Bowl, it can't be not your favorite. So that's pretty cool. And as for like the AFC North, that's an interesting situation coming out of there. They have a lot of vacancies. Stefanski's out. Harbaugh's out. Now you got Tomlin stepping down. You don't know who's going where. I don't know who's going to be hired for each team. Have the Browns even interviewed anybody? View tracker. Let's look. I don't even know if the Browns have interviewed anybody, but they don't strike me as a team that's ready to even do anything anyways. They never do. They never do anything good. So they have an interview with Mike McDaniel on January 12th. You're basically putting a hat on a hat. Stefanski and McDaniel are basically like offensive-minded coaches, and you're just going to fire one offensive. Only an NFC West team can eliminate an NFC West team. Thanks for participating, AFC, and the other 4 NFC teams. Yeah, so I could see that each team in the playoffs still is very good. If you watched my power rankings, the Seahawks have a score. I came up with like a baseline score using like a special formula, like using your winning, and then your point differential plus your playoff differential. Multiply that by 1.5 and then divide that by 5. The Seahawks ended up with like a 138.3 overall grade, which is like 7 points higher than the Patriots. And the Patriots played a playoff game and the Seahawks didn't. So that tells you just how good on paper that the Seahawks are. I would say they're one of the favorites in the NFC and to win it all. I don't know if anybody can beat this team except for Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is the only player on the Seahawks that can beat him. That's just the reality. You don't know what Sam Darnold's going to do. Charbonnet's really good. Kenneth Walker III is really good. I love their defense. I think Nick Emenwari is the defensive player rookie of the year. He's been that good. JSN, I think he needs to. I know it's not his fault, but I hope he plays to that level that he was in the middle of the season. I really think that would probably be the best case scenario. JSN, Sam Darnold, get it clicking. Rashid Shaheed, Cooper Kupp, those guys can get it going and not have to give me a heart attack every freaking time they play. They'll win the Super Bowl. No doubt about it. But back to the Browns, Mike McDaniel, Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator for the Ravens. I don't know why you want to hire an offensive coach when you've already had an offensive coach. Adin Durde is up for the job for the Browns. Dan Pitcher, offensive coordinator. Like, they're going after people that are basically the same as Kevin Stefanski. Like, I know that Kevin Stefanski didn't like Shedeur Sanders, and that's probably why they're getting rid of him. Jim Schwartz is an interesting one. He's the defensive coordinator for, I think, is he the Browns defensive coordinator? Yes, he is. That would be an interesting one to go within the team. Just think, if the games were won on paper, then the Eagles would be the highest scoring team in the league. On paper, that offense has talent. That is true. They had the best talent but they suck because of scheme, which is why their point differential was so bad. The Eagles ended up with like a 74 grade, which is like a C if you're looking at it, graded on a curve. And the Bears are a 74.4 on paper, at least for the season. I mean, it's moot because the Eagles lost, but the lowest score was like a 34, and that was the Carolina Panthers, who just backed themselves into the playoffs. So these are just on paper. I did take a lot of my own personal feelings into it, but at the end of the day, I also wanted something that was a little bit more tangible to kind of go on. That way people are like, oh, you're just doing it by feeling. No, let's come up with the formula and let's see. It'll be even better next week because we have that baseline formula. And yeah, we have a baseline formula, so we can do the math a little bit better from there. As for the Ravens coaching search, I don't know who has been interviewed. So Steve Bisciotti has just dropped a major hint about 11 hours ago on who the coach might be. The Ravens have interviewed 8 candidates, and there are at least 6 more on the horizon. Obviously, with such important position vacant, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Very intrigued by coaches that were the hottest offensive and defensive coordinator 5, 6, 7 years ago in their cycles, and got jobs, went to teams that were non-competitive and didn't have a quarterback. Bisciotti said, if our final candidate is an ex-coach who has a losing record, we are going to be able to judge that failure with the circumstances and marry that up and not disqualify them. I heard about that. Everybody's saying the memes would be great for that. And I agree. That'd be a funny little thing. It would basically be putting a hat, like, for lack of a better term, a hat on a hat. They're basically just going to do the same thing. So I actually think Stefanski might be the guy. There's Stefanski, Robert Saleh, Brian Flores, Mike McDaniel, Cliff Kingsbury, Matt Nagy would also be possibilities. I like Stefanski, Saleh, or Flores. That would be a pretty good. Those 3 would be my pick for the Ravens job. Yeah, and that's not even the most ever. I don't know who the most ever, but I've heard there's been 10 before. But 9 is crazy, which means the Titans are probably going to get like the crumbs. Let's see if they have Titans coach search. The Titans was the only AFC North coach to survive, and he shouldn't have. He shouldn't have survived. I mean, when you have Burrow and he keeps getting injured, you have all this talent, and then your GM doesn't freaking pay defensive players. It's just stupid. There's not really anybody. Yeah, there's no one for the Titans. The coaching search tracker for the Titans. I just think the Bengals are a lost cause. I think they're going to play Burrow out of his contract, and I think he could retire early. It was a very weird year for sure, and it's still been weird. So, but it's been my thing. I'm really glad I started a channel when I did, because this year has been so crazy. It's given me a lot to think about. It's chaotic. It's been fun. Like, as a creator, it's been so much fun just doing this at this time, because this could have been like an Eagles Super Bowl last year, Eagles Super Bowl, but to have like no clue what's going to happen, it's probably the best thing to happen in football in a long time. They've requested interviews January 5th. Expect the team to interview a large swath, with the list falling somewhere between 12 to 15. Titans interviewed former Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel. The Titans have now satisfied the Rooney Rule and can make a coaching hire at any time. So they did that. Mike Tomlin I don't think you'd put Tomlin on the Steelers. I mean Titans. That'd be kind of. I don't think so. Harbaugh, no. I mean, he'd be a good culture changer. He'd be a very good culture changer, Harbaugh. But I don't know what you do with the Titans. Um. So they have Jeff Halfley and Jesse Minter. They interviewed Mike McDaniel, Brian Daboll on Friday, Mike McCarthy, Jonathan Gannon, and Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh might be an interesting one. Their defense was atrocious. Mike McCarthy would be another culture changer. Mike McDaniel, I don't think he's a fit there. They don't have the pieces to do anything. He'd be going to like Miami Light. Brian Daboll, not good. Matt Nagy. My brother does not want Matt Nagy at all. Jason Garrett's up there. I don't know. He can win you like 9 games, 8 games, the whole way. Just don't. I don't know. Titans are such a mess. They're like in the whole. They just have like the vibe of the Cleveland Browns. They interviewed Raheem Morris, Mike McDaniel, Jonathan Gannon, Mike McCarthy, supposedly. Chris Shula, Arthur Smith, Jeff Halfley, Robert Saleh. I don't know. I don't know who to put. You guys tell me who would be a good fit for the Titans. Maybe just Titans folding and then coming back as a new team would probably be their best solution. I don't know. Miami, has Miami even searched for anybody? Miami coach tracker. I heard they're like in the mix for Harbaugh, right? Think so. The Miami Dolphins have begun their search. They interviewed Jeff Halfley, defensive coordinator of the Green. Dude, Jeff Halfley. I know Sinbin wants. That would be nice. An Eagles OC of Brian Daboll and Mike McCarthy would be nice. I mean, Mike McDaniel. Same Mick. I don't think McDaniel is going to be an offensive coordinator. He probably doesn't want to be. He probably wants to be a head coach. But I think Daboll would be good. I would rather have McDaniel. If we could get McDaniel, it would be insane. But then you have to wonder, because a lot of people are saying like Jalen Hurts is a one-read quarterback. He's not that great of a quarterback. He limits the offense. I heard LaShawn McCoy say that. And I saw a lot of like him not being able to hit the open man. Now, I'm not a quarterback. I don't know what it's like to have freaking 300-pound guys in my face. I don't know. Like, I'd have to see him next year to really just say, like, if they have a... Because he can win with a coach that can really call and dial up plays. We saw it with Kellen Moore. But I just don't think he's the type of player that can raise the level of play of a bad offensive coordinator. And that's not his fault. Nobody's going to be Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning was able to do that. Only a few quarterbacks are able to do that, and some just need an offensive coordinator. That's fine. So you really have to be careful with who you pick. Now, Kevin Stefanski's on the Dolphins list. Clint Kubiak, they want him. So, Eagles-wise, I don't know what they're going to do. I hear they want Patullo still on the team. At the top of available coaches, he really proved... Oh, definitely. I mean, with their defense being as banged up and injured and basically in the infirmary ward in Santa Clara, he has earned himself a head coaching look and a head coaching job to an actual contending team, not the Jets. Like anybody that goes to the Jets, you're dooming your career. It's not your fault. I would like Saleh to go to like Baltimore. Or even like like a Miami would be nice. Miami might be nice for him. Tennessee, no. Nobody wants to go there. Dude, I didn't know that actually. That'd be pretty cool. Robert Sala, and they've drafted really well. I think they have a good team in San Francisco. Like, am I like a huge San Francisco fan? No, but I think Sala has done wonders for them, and I hope he goes somewhere good. Like, out of the opening, the Steelers would be nice. Baltimore would be nice for him. Who are the other ones? Who else is coach vacancies? NFL. I forget who's where. Cardinals. Cardinals would be okay, but Jonathan Gannon just left. Atlanta's interesting. It's a very interesting place. I don't know about Cleveland. I never know about Cleveland. The Raiders haven't. The Raiders? I think they need an offensive coach and a culture shifter. No, they tried the culture shifter with Pete Carroll. Atlanta would probably be the best choice, in my opinion. They've got a lot of good pieces. Titans. I don't know if I want to go Titans. New York Giants. Maybe. They only have 11 million in cap. The Raiders suck. We don't want the Raiders. Baltimore. You would just have to find a good OC. I'm thinking Baltimore. No, you can't hold him responsible for what happened in New York. New York is a shit show. Pardon my language. There's just no other way to put it. So Ravens, Dolphins maybe, but the Dolphins have negative 23 million in cap space. No, not. You don't want to put him in a bad situation. I don't think you want to put him in a bad situation. The Cardinals, I don't know. I don't know about the Cardinals. They don't have a quarterback to speak of. I don't like Cleveland. Cleveland is so bad. They have a negative 12 million cap space. And they've been bad for that long. I'm telling you, Atlanta looks enticing. I don't think you want to go with maybe the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's an enticing job for anybody. But you'd really I feel like you'd want an offensive coach to go to Pittsburgh. They just had so much defense the whole time. Ravens. So those would be my three picks for solid. Be the Ravens, the Steelers, and the Falcons. I think those three. Whoever doesn't get wherever Harbaugh doesn't go, I think Saleh needs that. Even Brian Flores would be a good pickup for anybody, I think. Very good defensive coach. But I think that's it for me today. That was a really fun episode. Gotten a little bit of everything. Eagles. We had some. Too many GMs let the fans and the media influence their coaching firings, and that is why there is 9 openings. Yeah, I don't even know if Miami should have fired McDaniel. To be honest, maybe not. I think. Who else? Stefanski was a good coach. Not his fault that they have Bill Cosby of the NFL on their team. I think. Who else? I think Raheem Morris is kind of meh. But That's just me. Tomlin, he just had to step down. It was getting too stale. Harbaugh is probably another one that got really stale. Stefanski, I probably wouldn't have gotten rid of if I were a guy. He was an owner because he won Coach of the Year. Yeah, I'm having a good day, Sinbin, just talking football and doing a Q&A type of thing. How you doing, Sinbin? You doing some NFL games today? Or, not NFL, NHL? Also, too bad about LaFleur getting re-signed as a coach. Or at least they're talking about an extension. I don't know how you feel about that. I don't know how I feel about LaFleur. He's very conservative. He made very bad decisions in the playoffs. He'll get you to the playoffs, but he's not gonna. It doesn't seem like he can win a playoff game. As for the Lions OC, that would be another like Mike McDaniel, Brian Daboll would be nice. You have who else lost their job? The Titans. I don't know who to go to the Titans. I'm good. NHL and men's college basketball night. Nice. That should be fun. I'll probably stop by. I don't have any like videos or streaming to do the rest of the week. For NFL coaches, instant positive results are rare. Be patient. GMs, your job is damage control and keep the media off the coach's back. Yeah, I agree. The coach, like, they used to, like, keep coaches around for a while when I was young. And then all of a sudden they want to get rid of everyone. Yeah, I hear Halfley has some interviews, though, with other teams. Which sucks for the Packers, because Halfley's a really good DC. So I'm wondering what's going to go on there. But yeah, it's like quarterbacks. Everybody wants their quarterback to perform right when they get drafted, but that's not really the case. It takes a few years for them to actually get going, in my opinion. I don't think people have patience for things anymore. And I get the LaFleur thing. LaFleur's been there for almost 10 years, right? I think. I can't remember how long. Yeah, I didn't know who else to hire either. Like, I don't think Brian Flores or Saleh would want to be a defensive coordinator. Halfley has been so good. I mean, he took your team and made them really good, especially without Micah Parsons. I get why he's getting a coaching chance. It's awful for the Packers, especially right now with so much turmoil in the organization. Yeah, but media's been very bad to like these things, and like it's all about the hot take and all about the views and things like that. I try not to be too hot takey, because I just think that's like bad for the game and bad for like sports media. So I try to stay away from that. Now, every once in a while, I'll say something a little controversial or very controversial, but if you guys are looking for that type of stuff, that's more my brother's style. I know he started a channel because he got FOMO, fear of missing out, but it's not my style of thing. I always wanted to be like an actual like reporter type thing. So that's what I try to do. Harbaugh, everyone, yeah, pretty good stuff to talk about. Not as much as I wanted. It's pretty crazy though. Like, Tomlin was the coach when I was in high school, at the end of my high school years. And then they had Bill Cowher through most of my childhood. Chuck Noll before that. I didn't even get to watch Chuck Noll, because I think he retired when I was born, or right before that. I can't remember. Let me double check. It's kind of an interesting thing. Society we live in, people want everything right now. It takes time to build something great. Pre-internet people understand this. Yeah, I understand. I understand it. To I grew up in like that weird time where the internet was just coming along, but there was still like patience and things like that. So I get it. I get that too, which is it sucks. I remember like Troy Aikman is a quarterback who didn't do well his first year. You had Steve Young who like got ousted by Tampa Bay. Halfley interviewed with Miami. McDaniel interviewed with the Titans. They had Patullo is not completely fired. They might want to keep him around as like a passing game coordinator where he was before and where he should have stayed. My opinion is that some people like me, I was never meant to be like an NFL quarterback. I wanted to be a quarterback. I wanted to play football. I was never meant to be. I don't have the tools for it. Patullo is a great passing game coordinator. He did well with that job. He's not meant to be an offensive coordinator. Other than that, Dante Moore is not entering the 2026 draft, so that puts a damper to the Browns' chances at getting a quarterback. The two-time Adam Thielen retired. Yeah, one and done. One and done as offensive coordinator. He's just getting a demotion at this point. Oh, the Jets wanted to get a quarterback, Dante Moore, but Dante Moore said he's going back into college, which is probably the best thing. You don't want to, like, screw the Jets. The Jets don't deserve to beat up on another quarterback, to be honest. Not really a lot going on except for Tomlin Fired stepping down yesterday. I know the Ravens have been interviewing people. Miami's been interviewing people. So it's been kind of a slow day in the NFL. I just don't have a lot of time to do these because I work Sunday through Friday. So like either my schedule is doing work or doing videos. So this Wednesday is the only day that I could do the whole thing. But other than that, nothing really going on in the NFL. You guys probably have already heard. I was just putting my 2 cents in. I know there's rumblings about A.J. Brown getting traded, which is a stupid decision. And I mentioned it today. I said my brother and I, like when we play together, games, we argue a lot. It's just what people do. Exactly. You should never do something outside of what you're capable of. Unless you're determined to be the best at it and like use your talents. Yeah, you shouldn't hire your friends. Makes it more difficult to fire and let go. Joe Barry and Matt LaFleur. Definitely. I told myself, and I'll tell you guys, like, I think San Poyo's been around long enough to know that my brother and I were doing this channel together. I think you are too, Sinman. We tried it. It doesn't work. It was a very difficult decision to be like, hey, buddy, like, you and I just don't get along when it comes to content creation because I want to do it the way I do it, and you want to do it the way you want to do it. I want to come in, blaze of glory, do as much work as I can, put as much effort into it, and you just want to show up and just not put in any time doing tech checks, doing things like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just I'm very committed to this channel. Very, very committed to this channel. So you're going to have to be on the same page when it comes to doing things. And it just didn't work out. I love my brother. Now we don't argue about this stuff. So, you know, it's good. It's hard to work with your friends. And I probably would never do it again. I would never do that with family or friends not working with me. They can help if they want. But no, I'm not hiring anybody that's a friend or family. Unless they have the same commitment to things that I have. So that's what I think. kind of a tangent here. Not really much. Not really much. We went over the games. We went over the playoff games. What I'm looking forward. I probably will. I'm actually getting married in November, so there's a chance for that. One handsome kid. Maybe it'll come out good looking, unlike me. But yeah, I'll be doing Niners Seahawks. The only game I have available for my schedule. I wish I could do all four. It'd be very nice to do all four, but I just can't. So uh, I don't have the energy nor the time to do all four. Other news. Other news. Addison was trespassing, so he got arrested. Probably nothing. As for me, I have power rankings, dumpster fire awards, and what else do I have? And the Eagles recap all out. Probably gonna call it a day. Call it a day now and just relax for the most of the day and whatnot. So I'll see you guys Saturday night or when I do a video. If I do a video this week, I need a haircut, by the way. So I'll let you guys all go. You guys stay blessed. Adios. C'est la vie. Boom. Good day.